Alright, what's going on, guys? It's Ryan Versatile checking in. So, back here with the S9 review. So, basically going to be going over the same thing as usual. 3 cons, 3 pros about the phone, excuse the wind. Figured I'd record outdoors just so you guys can see what the actual video camera is like on this thing. It's a selfie mode, by the way. Anyways, 3 pros, 3 cons, overview of the specs, and maybe some other features that I find notable. Let's get into it.
Yeah.
Alright guys, so here it is, the S9 Plus. So I've got some fairly big hands. This thing is still big. 6.2 inches. You're transferring from a smaller phone, you're definitely going to notice a difference. Takes a little bit of getting used to, but I'd say a week or two, you'll love the phone and won't want to switch back. So like I said, 6.2 inches, AMOLED display, as you notice there, the always on display. Cool fact, this black part here is completely dead pixel, so it's not draining your battery. Speaking of battery, you've got a 35 milliamp battery, so it's going to last you the full day, which is typical for most smartphones, but you won't have any issues with that. In order to charge that battery, you've got the USB-C port at the bottom there, so faster charging speeds, faster transfer speeds. You've also got wireless charging as well, so that's always pretty convenient. Headphone jack down there, so for the people that are not quite ready to let go of the wired headphones or just haven't upgraded to fully Bluetooth, you've got that there. 2 cameras at the back there, so 12 megapixels on each, one of them being a telephoto lens, so you can get those really clear magnified close-up shots, that kind of thing. So a few more things about this. It's actually got the IP68 waterproofing, so you can drop it up to 1.5 meters for 30 minutes. In terms of memory, storage size, that kind of thing, you've got the expandable memory on here, 64 gigs of memory instilled in the phone, and then 6 gigabytes of RAM. So this thing runs like a beast, to be completely honest with you. Seamless, smooth sailing for just about any consumer. If you're playing games and stuff like that, or you're playing PUBG or plan on doing Fortnite when it comes out for Android, this is the phone you want for it. So now I'm going to go into some pros and cons of the device, alright? Actually, I forgot to mention, you got the 8 megapixel selfie camera, which I was recording that previous clip on. So yeah, like I mentioned, let's get into the pros and cons.
Okay guys, so first things first, I'm going to be touching on the pros for this thing. So my favorite feature of the S9 is definitely going to be the display. Samsung's forte, it's something that they do a great job with any flagship model that they put out. So they've got the AMOLED display in this thing. In comparison to my Pixel 2 XL, it's you can definitely notice the difference. So even with little things like comparing backgrounds, having the exact same background but on both phones, you can really notice the difference. You've got a lot more vibrant colors, truer to like the color scheme, contrast, that kind of thing. Overall, just things look a lot more rich. So if you're into watching videos on YouTube, Netflix, whatever the case is, this is definitely the phone for you because that display is on point. Alright guys, so second pro that I have for this phone is definitely going to be the display, or sorry, not the display, the design and aesthetic of the phone along with the customization. So what I mean by design and aesthetic is you're paying a premium price for this phone and you're getting a phone that fits and looks the role. This thing looks stellar compared to most phones. The Pixel 2, they did a very good job. The display, like the way that they actually made the phone and the display kind of bezels and whatnot could have been improved. It still looks good, but this thing knocks it out of the park. It's one of its kind for sure. So yeah, that's just kind of aesthetic, that kind of thing. In terms of the customization, this thing is really cool as well because you can actually go as far as adjusting the opacity for things like widgets, notifications, so that your actual layout on your phone is really tended to what you like. Another cool thing that I really like, this is very specific and it's definitely more of like a nostalgic thing for me. I used to play Xbox, so every single time you get a text message on your phone, it pops up like a little Xbox notification. They've also got, I forget what they call it, but there's like a little ring that actually wraps around your phone when you get a notification, it's just aesthetically pleasing. It looks really cool. Other things, obviously it's an Android phone, so you've got free reign to adjust the widgets as you like, or add whatever widgets you want. But yeah, that's definitely going to be pro number. So pro number 3 is something that I was not anticipating whatsoever. I've got multiple Bluetooth devices in my house, so I've got a speaker, my AirPods, and then another speaker, or sorry, the Google Home, a speaker in my washroom, and my AirPods. So I'm constantly connecting or interconnected, connected to all three. So what will happen is I'll try to like switch between one and the other with my Pixel, and then I'll just kind of cut, restart the song, so on and so forth. So I know that's very specific, and it's like, Ryan, like, relax, it's not that big of a deal. But when you have an S9 and you're connected to all three, and you can just change to one instantly, and it continues that same song, it's perfect. You know, I mean, if I'm in the middle of a vibe with a song, or I'm really feeling it, and it continues on, it's like, yo, that's awesome. I like it a lot. So Bluetooth, that's one thing that caught me off guard, but definitely a pro for the S9 is having the interchangeability. Alright, so I have to play both sides. I have to go into the cons. This is not me knocking the phone at all. This is just kind of stating things that I'm not as interested in, or I thought was a little bit of a letdown and could potentially be fixed. Excuse me. Number one is definitely going to be the selfie camera. I was disappointed. I'm definitely guilty of taking lots of selfies myself. Not lots, but a good amount. So yeah, I mean, comparing it to the Pixel 2 XL, iPhone 10, that kind of thing, it's not very impressive. The selfie video at the beginning of this review was actually very good, and I'm surprised. Maybe it's just the lighting, I don't know what the case is, but the selfie camera is, it just doesn't compare, it doesn't compete, I guess you could say, with the Pixel 2 XL or the iPhone 10. This also kind of falls into the camera, like the back rear facing camera. So Samsung's like selling point for this phone was the dual lenses on S9 Plus, and then having that variable aperture. That is something that they focused on explicitly, which I was anticipating like this phenomenal camera, and it is very good for the light conditions, etc. But I was anticipating for it to be a lot better than the Pixel 2 XL, and it wasn't. The Pixel 2 XL I still think is the top runner for rear photos. So yeah, that's kind of the camera situation with the Samsung. A bit of a letdown. Still a very good camera, but to my standards, a bit of a letdown. Con number 2. So this is also a very specific thing. I know I'm trying to tend these videos to your average consumer, but I couldn't help but mention this. This is me just being very picky. But anyways, facial recognition. I feel like if you're going to have a phone that incorporates facial recognition, you should nail it. They did do a good job. It reads perfectly about 75% of the time. The other 25% of the time I just use a fingerprint scanner because that works flawlessly. So yeah, I wish that was flawless. Also, there's this like random red light that kind of flashes when it's doing the facial scan, which is a little bit annoying. Very specific to me, but annoying. So that's con number 2. Number 3. Actually, you know what? I should have made that 3 because it's very minor and probably won't be a huge thing for most people. But yeah, anyways, number 3 is definitely going to be the button layout / bloatware. I'm kind of combining two here. The bloatware is a given. I mean, most people that switch to S9 or make use of those phones are a little bit annoyed by that. So always having the 2 different emails, 2 different messaging apps, 2 different photo libraries, the list goes on. It's kind of annoying. Definitely something that I wish that Samsung would ease off of. I understand that they're in a very competitive industry and that kind of thing, and they want to be able to compete and have to kind of force their users to have it on there. That way they can actually make use of it. But it's like, come on, you know, I'm getting an Android phone because I want that freedom. Let me have it. Lastly, the button, like I mentioned. The volume at the top left is a little bit unorthodox. It's something that I'm getting used to, and that's something that anyone would run into if they switched from a different phone. So that's more of just like a me problem, not a phone. But the button for Bixby, a little bit irritating just because I'm not going to make use of it. I can change it to the remapping app, but it would be much more convenient to be able to just do it through the settings automatically. So yeah, those are the cons. They're not extremely major. Like I said, just kind of things that irritate me and might irritate you. Alright guys, so I'm checking in with the S9 Plus selfie camera again. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the pros and cons, and you got a little bit more insight into the phone. I personally did not think I would like it nearly as much as I do, and I think that the display is to blame for that. So now I'm just going to cut to a quick take on the rear-facing video camera in a low light situation, so you guys see what that's like. Alright guys, so we're recording right now on the S9 Plus rear-facing video camera. That way you guys can get an idea as to what the quality is actually like in a low light setting. So hopefully you enjoyed the video. Check out the next one. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.
Yeah.